When we were talking about the innovation section, Alan, I think, talked about you have to have a kind of small team, dedicated team to make things happen. And, you know, we couldn't have run an event like this without a small dedicated team that made it happen. We're not in the conference organising business, so we have to kind of go the extra mile to put on a show like this. But I just wanted to put up a picture of the team that pulled this together. You may have seen some of them wandering around. There may be some in the room at the moment. If they could stand up. And again, if you could just show your appreciation to these guys for a great show. Is there anyone here? Candice here? Giles? You may not
recognise Giles with his clothes on.
Yeah. So Guy and I are supposed to summarise the day, and we've got two versions of the summary prepared. We basically had these two versions prepared because it really depended on whether Bob was going to give us the long version of his presentation or the short version. If it had been the long version, the summary would have been, thank you for coming, now we're going to the bar. Fortunately, it was the short version, but we are going to keep it brief. So if I firstly talk about the listen section, returning to Bob again, I mean, thank you, Bob, for confirming that the power shifted now to the consumer. I think we knew, but I think what it highlights in relation to the listen section is that listening is no longer a nice to do. It's actually a business critical exercise. And, you know, we got some great examples of that from Bill, who talked about some of the good and the bad events at Intel. I think it was also great to be reminded that although it's a digital world, it's also a human world, and that was a kind of theme that ran throughout a number of the different presentations. So the principles about how to win friends and influence people still apply, and actually we need to return to them if we're to be truly successful. I think it's crucial that we listen and act during the life of a campaign. That was something else that cropped up a few times. And I think that's the thing that's going to really deliver competitive advantage. Gone are the days of measurement, evaluation at the end of the campaign, and then applying it to the next. Of course, we're going to do that, but it's continual measurement and optimization throughout the campaign. And then I guess a thought from us is that with all of the, you know, we talked earlier about digital media being the ultimate listening device. We now get feedback from so many different devices on an almost unimaginable scale. But the volume of data that's going to be generated from that is going to require probably some different structures and resources in all of our organizations. And that's something that certainly we at Ogilvy are thinking a lot about. And it's something that, Clive, you mentioned, you know, when you get that feedback, your bill doubles. And all of the feedback and the listening that we're going to do is fantastic, but don't just think that the existing structures are going to be able to cope with all of that, assimilate it, and allow you to act on it. So on the experiment section, I think the first point was do some. McKinsey a year ago were talking about 20 to 25% of your marketing spend to be used to finance well-structured experiments. Because it's a kind of interactive conference, I just wondered whether I could ask the question of the audience out here, how many people actually have a budget for experimentation? Could you put your hands up? Actually, it's a lot more than I thought. That's really good. I think, I'm sure somebody made a note of that. We'll come and talk to you afterwards.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
I think there was a lot of interesting discussion, and I'm sure a lot of people wanted to talk more about this whole point of innovation in a straitjacket. How do you make it happen in organizations that are not used to experimenting on this at this level? And there were lots of kind of interesting points that came out of that. Small teams, passion, belief, have fun, be prepared to make mistakes. And then, of course, you know, be useful, be relevant or entertaining, and a little at a time. Those were some of the things that kind of stood out for me. And in terms of how do you experiment, how do you get the best of both worlds, you know, what you know to work traditionally, as well as trying to find those breakthrough strategies. That's something we've been thinking a lot about as Ogilvy, and I think if you read Rory's introduction in your handouts, you'll have heard this term safe adventure. And I think this is all about striking the right balance between the tried and tested methods to deliver the results and the innovation needed to break category conventions. So that's something that we're absolutely passionate about, and hopefully we can continue those types of conversations with you.
Okay, thank you. I am now really conscious that I look like a pint of beer to all of you. So Engage. The main thing about Engage is to be stylish, to be entertaining, but above all, you need to be useful and relevant. We also heard about there's no one-size-fits-all, and that's particularly important for people who are trying to talk to mass audiences. You'd need to talk to people in the way that they need to do. That's very useful for us with big clients like British Gas, British Telecom, Ford and BP, that you've still got huge mass audiences, but not one-size-fits-all. You need to find individual ways of talking to those people. You need to invite people in to participate and co-create conversations about the brand. And finally, you need a unifying brand idea and a big idea as you've always had in the past. The same is true today in the digital world. Now, we heard from John Steele, who gave us a quote from 3 dead people, and he said that these people had all died a long time ago, but actually they were digital people. Their thoughts were all there as if they're here today. And here are 3 quotes from one dead person, David Ogilvy, but if you read these quotes, these could easily be written today. So Mike and I are very, very pleased with the conversation and the openness of the conversation. There has been some conflict, which is good, but to try and contain that or control that, we would have missed the point of the whole day. So the fact that we did have some conflict and some different points of view is exactly what the digital world is all about. So we're delighted that it's ended up in that place. We'd like you to carry on the conversation with us. We can do this in a number of ways. We have digital academies. We have actually bespoke Verge conferences for clients. We've done one with Unilever, one with Cisco, and we'd be very happy to do other ones with clients. But please, we're going to finish now, but if you want to carry on talking, if you want to do that in the old media world, then let's go to the bar and we can talk. But if you want to do it in the new world, then please give us a poke. Thank you very much.